For the immediate people that are going to be mad about that happening, as President of the United States, it's Veterans Day. He's the Commander-in-Chief. Obviously, if we have the opportunity to talk to him, we're going to.
That was Pat McAfee's immediate response to all the wanker spankers who were expressing their fake outrage because Pat McAfee had the audacity to interview the President of the United States on Veterans Day. This is outrageous! How dare ESPN give a platform to the Orange Man? Just think about that for a second. People, mainly in the mainstream media, they are so infected with stage 4 OMB. Orange Man bad! They are so infected with the woke fungus. They are pissed off at Pat McAfee for interviewing the president on the day we set aside, the only day we set aside, to honor our veterans in the military. I guess they're mad because he didn't have Don Trump on the show for Non-Binary Awareness Day, or Male Birthing Person Day, Noodle to Boodle Day, one of the other 90 days on the woke calendar that are set aside to honor men who wear thongs. Credit where credit is due, though. I am pleasantly surprised with Pat McAfee. When he joined the worldwide leader in woke a couple of years ago, I didn't think this would work out, mainly because Pat McAfee doesn't fit the culture at ESPN, which he still doesn't. But Pat McAfee has proven how toxic masculinity always defeats the woke fungus. This dude says and does whatever the hell he wants without consequence. Pat McAfee tells executives at ESPN to fuck off. This dude could hand management a spoon and tell them to eat his ass. And you know what ESPN would do about it? Not a damn thing. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the second channel's in the description below. Yesterday on the second channel, talked about Maria Taylor, who, at minimum, Maria Taylor was misremembering her departure, her final days at ESPN, or she was just lying about it. Once again, Maria Taylor is desperate for your sympathy. Once again, Maria Taylor is playing the role of the ultimate victim. The diva of diversity tried to convince us that she was mistreated during her final days at ESPN. Unfortunately for Maria Taylor, Uncle KC has a long memory. I tell you what really happened during her final days at ESPN. So if you haven't already, click the link in the description below, subscribe to the second channel. You know, when you're as successful as Pat McAfee, when your masculinity allows you to get away with things that other people are just afraid to get away with, when you refuse to be a company man, when you refuse to be a yes man like Stephen A. Smith, you're gonna have plenty of detractors, or as Angel Reese and her mama prefers to call them, haters. Most people hating on Pat McAfee, they at least have a somewhat legitimate reason. Maybe they don't like his presence on College Game Day. Maybe they don't like his show. Me personally, I've never really been a fan of the Pat McAfee show, which is fine. That's fine. I'm not in the target demo. Pat McAfee targets kids between the ages of 18 and 24, maybe 18 and 34, and Uncle KC prefers shows meant for adults. But there's one particular hater of Pat McAfee that I can't quite figure out. I don't know if he hates Pat McAfee because he's jealous. I don't know if he hates Pat McAfee because he's associated with the Trumper. Hell, knowing this doofus, this could just be a case of blind rage. He could hate Pat McAfee because this particular hater literally hates everyone. Remember the other day when I told you guys that woke white women are one of the biggest threats to America? Unsurprisingly, the face of woke white women is also one of the biggest Pat McAfee detractors, Keith Olbermann. KD Boo! The other day, Bobby Burak from Outkick published an article about Pat McAfee interviewing the Trumper. As he always does, he posted the article on Twitter. The caption was simple. Bobby Burak was praising Pat McAfee for not being a sellout after spending a couple of years at ESPN. To his credit, Pat McAfee promised that he wouldn't change, he would not be influenced by the diversity deputies at ESPN, and to my knowledge, he's kept his word. Like I said, I don't watch his show, but based on what I have seen, Pat McAfee is the same today as he was 3 years ago. Anyway, Bobby is publicizing his article on Twitter. Now, there was nothing incendiary about his post. There was nothing triggering. There was no reason for someone to see it and have an emotional meltdown. Unless, of course, your name is Keith Olbermann. As you guys know, it doesn't take much for Keithy Poo to have a meltdown. If one of his dozens of cats misses the litter box, Pooh melts down over the poo. If one of his matches ghosts him on Grindr, Pooh is inconsolable for days. And God forbid, he sees the face of Donald Trump on TV, Pooh transforms into the devastating Doodle and unleashes his toxic mouth diarrhea all over social media. Which is exactly what happened when Keithy saw this tweet from Bobby Burak. Check it out for yourself. How dare you platform the Orange Man? He made fun of John McCain. He hates our military. Trump hates the troops. Pat McAfee's an asshole. You're all fascists. I hate you. Ah! Are you okay, Keithy? Are you sure you're okay? I have been following the decline of Keith Olbermann for several years now. Either one of two things are true here. Either Keith Olbermann is brilliant and he has done a phenomenal job at convincing everyone that he's insane, when the potential reality is he's just trolling. He's just playing the role of Captain Insano. Believe it or not, this is not outside the realm of possibility. Keith Olbermann is brilliant. He's a smart dude. I would not be surprised if he created this gimmick of Captain Insano just to generate attention. However, I am more inclined to believe that option 2 is the most likely option, which is Keith Olbermann is actually insane. This dude is so radical, he was fired by MSNBC. He was let go by ESPN 10 or 15 years ago. He was hosting a primetime show on, I believe the network was called Current, which in Pooh's case, it meant Keithy was currently insane. No one was watching this network. Keith Olbermann could do and say whatever the hell he wanted because there was no one in the audience to be offended. Yet somehow, Pooh was so difficult to work with, he got fired from a network that no one was watching. All of my young, potentially woke men out there who aspire to be women, all of my young woke men who aspire to grow up and be deacons at Woke United Methodist, maybe you're attending Woke U where you're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to be indoctrinated and brainwashed. I'm sure your professors are telling you conservatives are evil. You know why they're always happy? Because they're always taking advantage of marginalized groups. I'm sure your professors are convincing, but allow Uncle KC to give you a little glimpse into your future. If you're a young man and you're thinking about dedicating your life to the woke wiener, this is what you're going to be like in 40, 50 years. Watch for yourself.
Tyler Robinson indeed shot Charlie Kirk, he shot him for personal reasons because he saw Kirk as a direct threat to somebody he loved. There is truly only one person whose words created, amplified, mainstreamed, and manufactured this nightmarish environment that has led to Charlie Kirk's death. The leading threat in this country, in this moment, to the safety and the lives of conservatives and Republicans and MAGA commentators and politicians and civilians is not George Soros, and it's not Antifa, and it's not a Democrat, nor a liberal, nor a socialist, nor an immigrant, nor a transgendered person. The leading threat in this country, in this moment, to the safety and the lives of conservatives and Republicans and MAGA is Donald Trump.
Have you ever wondered why Keith Olbermann is always so angry? Have you ever wondered why he's so bitter? And it's not just Keithy. Woke white women are angry and bitter too. But have you ever wondered why? Think about what it would be like to wake up every morning and know you have to lie. Think about what it would be like to wake up every morning and have to remember the lies that you told the day before. Think about how miserable it would be to try to convince people that men can get pregnant or men belong in women's sports. You're constantly having to keep up with labels. You're constantly having to watch what you say. If you offend one person, and that's all it takes, if you offend one person in a marginalized group, deacons at Woke United Methodist kick you out of the congregation. Keith Olbermann is 66 years old, never had children, never been married. The only daily interaction he has with something capable of breathing without an air compressor is the daily interaction he has with his cats and his potted plants. But Casey, I know plenty of single men and they're not miserable. Yeah, I was happily single when I was in my late 20s, early 30s. You know what else I was? Reckless. You know what would happen if Keith Olbermann had a wife and kids? He would not be acting like a teenager on social media. He wouldn't be uploading videos to YouTube where he is screaming until he runs out of slobber. You know why he wouldn't be doing that? Because his wife would tell him, grow the hell up. His kids would beg him to stop embarrassing them. Keith Olbermann can act like a maniac because he doesn't have anyone besides himself that has to deal with the consequences. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow.